Happy 2021, everyone. I'm Doug Boles with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and welcome to Behind the Bricks. We're looking forward to 2021, where we get an opportunity to bring you stories and personalities that have made the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and in particular the Indianapolis 500, what it is today. And as we think about 2021 and how we got here, no better person to start the Behind the Bricks series off with this year than Donald Davidson. Many of you know Donald as our historian, the man who is as passionate about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indianapolis 500, and the people who have made this race so great. Nobody's as passionate as Donald. Donald decided at the end of 2020 to retire. So on December 31st, 2020, it was Donald's last day. And just a few days later, we've got him back here again. You know, Hotel California by the Eagles, you can check out, you can never leave. That line, perfectly fitting for Donald Davidson. Donald, thank you for coming back in and spending some time with us
Well, thank
today.
you, Doug. It's great to see you again.
Well, you know, first of all, it's been a challenging 2020, and as we know, we're still battling through COVID. I just want to make clear to everybody that Donald and I, as we were getting ready here, had our masks on, and we are well over 6 feet apart, so we're following those CDC rules. And Donald, in fact, still has his mask there in his hand, but challenging times. And I know the end of last year was a little bittersweet for you. You've spent so much of your life following the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and then working in and around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and certainly all the experiences here. How's the last 10 days been as you started thinking about that next stage in Donald Davidson's life?
Oh, golly, well, I'm busy because I haven't really had a chance. You know, people said, well, you know, you're kicking back now. No, not really, because I had to make the transition, and I haven't made the transition yet. When the announcement came out that I was going to be leaving, within a matter of minutes, I got an email, and then the phone calls started coming, and ever since, I just had, you know, calls, emails, and then the cards and packages started arriving, and it's going to be a long time for me to actually make the transition. So did it just suddenly stop on December the 31st? No. I'm not going to suddenly stop, but I wanted to just pull back a little bit and just be able to do what I wanted to do and not do what I didn't want to do.
I think the first time we had a conversation about you trying to figure out how you wanted to transition out was 18 months ago or so, and you did say in that first conversation, I think, that, hey, I just want to disappear. And one of my biggest concerns, and I think I told you, is you can't just disappear because you mean so much to our fans here. And I often tell people, well, I could walk through the plaza with Mario Andretti on one side and Donald Davidson on the other, and fans would go, hey, that's Mario Andretti, but wow, that's Donald Davidson, I want to talk to him. And I do think when we talk about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as almost as if it's this living creature, and over time, you have become the voice of the Speedway, and the stories you tell, because you lived them firsthand or you heard them from people firsthand, when you tell them, I think we all sit back and listen because you're as close to a voice as the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as a facility and the Indy 500 as an event has ever had, and we really appreciate that. And that's why you can't just disappear, because there's a lot of people that certainly look forward to those long answers, because those long answers, you know, keep us captivated all along. I want to rewind a bunch, though, because some people have heard the story, but others haven't. You fell in love with the Speedway in an odd way. You weren't in Indiana, you weren't a Hoosier, you weren't even in the United States of America. Well, why don't you talk a little bit about where that seed was planted and how that love for the Speedway started? And then I want to go forward and ask you a question about your first time to the Speedway.
I was aware of racing from my earliest memories because I tell people Great Britain, you know, England is not a very large country, and it was just like soccer or cricket and motor racing. And beyond that, there was motorcycle racing. I knew who the motorcycle racers were, and certainly race drivers. But when it clicked was I was just entering my teens, and the Indianapolis 500 was part of the World Drivers' Championship. A friend of mine gave me a magazine. It was an English auto sport, and it was a couple of years old. It had the last race of the 1954 season. There was like a box table with how the points were awarded for each race. And so there's the Swiss Grand Prix and the British Grand Prix and the French Grand Prix. And then there's this thing called Indianapolis. What is that? How do you pronounce that? And then when I looked down at the drivers, only the top 5 got points in those days. It's a different set of names. It's Vukovic, Nazaruk, McGrath, Rutman. Who are they? And so I asked my friends about it, and nobody knew anything about it. Now, my dad did know what Indianapolis was. And then very shortly thereafter, I got a little booklet. It was a giveaway. Dunlop Tire had like a little promotional thing, and just a pamphlet. And it had a circuit diagram of all the major tracks. What is this thing? What is that? And so, in short order, I became fascinated by that. And I had begun to memorize stats about Grand Prix. And these names just fascinated me. And then my mother got me a copy of the 1956 Floyd Clymer Indianapolis 500 yearbook. And it opened up a whole new world. And in 57 and 58, the Indianapolis 500 cars and drivers, some of them, came to Europe to run at Monza on a high-speed section. And so here's Jimmy Bryan and Troy Ruttman and Johnny Parsons and Tony Bettenhausen in the Novi. I went from memorizing the winners, but then I got to seconds and thirds, and there seemed to be no end to what I could do. And I made it through school, but I already had, by the time I was 14 and a half, 15, I thought, I want to go to America. I want to go to Indianapolis. And we had relatives on my mother's side who lived in Chicago. They were Scottish, but they lived in Chicago. And I thought, well, this would be doable. I began making plans to come and visit. And I was fairly close to doing that in 1963, but it ended up 64 was my first year. And I had written to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I learned about the way things were at the track very early on because I wrote to the ticket department, or to ask about tickets. And I got this lovely response from a lady named Frances Durr. I read this letter and I took it to my dad and I said, look at this, I've got a letter from the Indianapolis Speedway, and it's not a form letter. This lady has answered the different questions that I had. And so right before I left to come here, and she said, when you get here, come and see me, and we will provide you with a bronze badge which will get you into the garage area, not the pits, but the garage area. And I thought, you're kidding me. A credential, I never even dreamed of that. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't dream of it. Well, for heaven's sake, I get here, and it was just, I went into the garage area, and it was just like magic. I mean, almost all of the people were friendly. I learned all about Hoosier hospitality, although the participants were from all over. But within a matter of minutes, I was being invited into garages because people were interested in what I had done. And instead of me, saying, yep, yeah, kid, okay, yeah, they were saying, how did you know that? That's right. They turned to the wife. Do you remember when we did so and so? So I was amazed at how interested the people were in what I had done. And so within a very short time, within a day or two, there was even some discussion about me being on the radio network. It was an incredible 3 weeks. I mean, it was just a whirlwind, and so I thought, I've got to pursue this. And so I went back to England. When I came back, I just had a green card, a one-way ticket. I had no job, but I thought, you got to believe, something's going to happen here. And the fellow who was the statistician and the keeper of records at the United States Auto Club was studying law and going to night school, and now he was going to have to do that full time. And his name was Jeffrey Boles. And I think you've probably run into him from time to time. And so thank you, Sid Collins. Thank you, Henry Banks. And thank you, Jeff Boles. And thank you, Doug Boles.
Well, but it all really started with your passion. People embraced you immediately for your passion and understanding of the sport. I know it probably got odd that everybody wanted to stump Donald Davidson. Every corner you went, somebody wanted to ask you a question and then delight in the fact that they thought maybe they could tell you something you didn't know. But what have the fans meant to you over the last 50 plus, 60 plus years?
It's very hard for me to put that into words because I mean I didn't seek it. I won't say that I didn't enjoy it. You know, I tell people I'm a private person, but I've always got along well with people, and I just sort of, because I'm sharing their passion, but the fact that they want to share their passion with me, and now here I go on about, you know, this amazing event where these people, tens of thousands of people and beyond, their life evolves around what happens here. And that took a real challenge this past year because of the fact that they couldn't do their traditions. But the fact that the people will come up to you, as you get all the time, every other person you talk to on race weekend tells you how many times this is. This is my 58th in a row, or my 37th, or whatever it is. Just amazing. And in the last few days and weeks, I mean, I've been getting cards and notes from people, and some of them I remember, or some of them I kind of have to jog my memory a little bit, and some I think I've never met.
You're so special to our fans. You really have become the voice of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's no more appropriate way to kick off the Behind the Bricks series for this year than with you. I think I can alleviate a little bit of fear of our fans. I think we'll stay in contact, and there'll certainly be times that you're going to be here at the Speedway and people will see you, and there'll probably be many more stories that we get a chance to hear, but we're just excited that you've got an opportunity to get things organized and do some of the things you want to do. But mostly on behalf of fans of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for decades now, thank you for just sharing our passion and giving our passion a voice. And we look forward to seeing you walk in the grounds here again. It was fun to have a burger with you and Johnny Rutherford and my dad the night before the 500 this year on your one moment at the Speedway. I appreciated you at least coming out. That would be one of the top 5 moments of my time here at the Speedway, was just sitting there watching you and JR talk. And you're just so important to us. We thank you for the time today, and we're going to have you back on. And,
okay, Doug. Well, but I hope everybody's okay with the fact that I still love it, but I'm not going to write a book. You know, I'm not looking to do any projects. So if you've got a project, you know, maybe if you've got a question I can easily answer, but do I want to become involved? No. You know, I just want to get organized a little bit, and it's going to take me a while to do that. And but thank you, Doug, and you know, all my co-workers and superiors over the years at USAC and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and actually I've worked at Telex for a short time that became IMS Productions. But I'm just very, very grateful to everybody, and hope you're not too disappointed if I'm going to kick back a little bit and be not quite as available as I have been.
As long as you're available a little bit, we're going to be fine. Well, thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Doug.
Well, not a better way to kick things off, fans, than with Donald Davidson. He's meant so much to all of us, certainly meant so much to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but more importantly, he's meant so much to the people who've made the Speedway special. Our drivers, our teams, our crew folks have really just trusted Donald to hear their stories and tell their stories in an appropriate way, and he really has made our experiences that much more special. Well, earlier this week, I had an opportunity to catch up with our now 2-time Indianapolis 500 winner, Takuma Sato, who won in August, this past year, the 2nd time into the Indianapolis 500. And we're going to look back for a moment here at what 2020 was, and then we're going to spend some time talking to our reigning champion, Takuma Sato.
Today, a centuries-long tradition will be renewed. The first driver across the yard of bricks will make a memorable moment that will last a lifetime.
Takuma Sato going to make a move to go around Ryan Hunter-Reid.
Side by side in the start-finish line. No
chance. He'll take the lead to the short chute.
Spin in turn 4, spin in turn 4. You just bring it home, buddy. You bring it home.
Takuma Sato is a two-time winner of the Indianapolis 500.
We won it. Thank you, guys.
This is unbelievable.
Well, hello, Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans. We are excited to be into 2021, and we're even more excited to have our 2020 Indianapolis 500 winner. But I should say our 2017 and 2020 Indianapolis 500. Not a lot of folks can say they've won one Indy 500. Very few can say they've won two. Takuma Sato, Taku, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Doug, and thank everyone for having us and having me. And it's a pleasure to talk to you.
You know, I always worry when somebody wins the Indianapolis 500 if they're going to be a great champion, because part of what it means, it's just beginning when you've crossed the yard of bricks, which you learned. And there's so many things that happen for those next 365 days where you really are the face, the spokesperson for the Indianapolis 500, in a lot of ways, the NTT IndyCar series. And it's a pretty taxing event. And so in 2017, I knew we were in good shape when I heard you celebrating, just the way you celebrated. No one's ever done that. And just getting to work with you that entire year was fantastic. I don't know that we've ever worked with somebody who was as gracious, as excited, and you really knew what winning the Indianapolis 500 means. But when you won it in 2020, you get out of the race car, and that excitement that you always have, you stood on the race car, you put your hands in the air. What was it like looking around and not seeing anybody?
Well, that's needless to say. It was just a sad moment for the Speedway that we weren't able to have excitement sharing together with the fans. And usually we're supposed to have over 350,000 people there, which didn't happen. So it's a kind of strange the scenery. Not just on the on top of the car, but entire car, to be honest, because so we were really concentrating on the racing going, so we never back off anything because no crowd or anything. But the crowd is a part of it. You go to the race cars, you're looking at the apex, you're looking at the cars in front, and all the observing what's happening around and yourself. But then the grandstand, it is a part of the scenery. And you don't feel the energy. It's just a gray out. Like everybody said, it felt like a practice, pack run, go group runs. And then every time going to the corner, I'm looking for the flag for the wind direction. Every time looking up above, there's just a gray grandstand, which was really sad. But still, knowing that millions and millions of people are watching through the TV safely at home at that day. And then I know the boys at the team and everybody's commitment, it was just ever so high. Even we didn't have a spectator. So overall, I think atmosphere, we would never like it, for the nothing like it for the usual 500. But still 2020 was just amazing that I wanted to appreciate Doug yourself and everybody at the IMS and all the sponsors enabled to race us there, because, a lot of athletes didn't have opportunity to even perform for the field. But you guys made a significant commitment to make us race there, and that was fans are also, I think, appreciated.
One of the things that's really I've learned to really appreciate about you is how much you do care about the fans, and you could hear it in your voice right there. But you're always one of those drivers that's really, really accessible. You've always got a smile on your face. You interact with fans in a way that's unlike a lot of our other drivers. Not that they don't interact well, because they all do. But there's just a passion that comes from you, and I think you understand what it really means. We had an opportunity the day before the race to get in those Camaros and actually drive down Main Street and then go to houses and surprise folks. To me, that was one of the more exciting moments of the month, when we'd been inside the racetrack, not being able to see fans. And then sort of last minute, we all said, hey, let's go say thanks to the fans.
Right.
How did you feel going down Main Street, waving at fans, and then stopping by somebody's house to surprise them?
I mean, that was actually fantastic. I knew that kind of program is coming, but didn't know specific what we do. And the moment we all did, quick parade at the Speedway, and all, 33 drivers, and then coming out to the Speedway street, and it was unexpected that a lot of fans actually came out and waved it, and cheering and shouting and stuff like that. And it was just a fantastic. And I just never forgot the guy. We visited individually for the fans, but then my time was that we went to the very, very nice gentleman, who lived there since 1964, and he just wanted to. In his house, his address wanted to include the Speedway. So how cool is that? So he was a huge fan. He never missed in the 500 race since then. So 2020 was the first time. But he had also the since 1964 his collection of only winner flag, and I was so pleasure to autograph to his is one of the collections. So he was really, really excited, and as well as I was hearing, wow, this is just a fan loyalties, and it's incredible, because he said he was equally sad he wasn't able to come to the Speedway to watch it, but since it was only 2 blocks away from the actual Speedway, so he said on his opening yard he has a television at the yard, and then he has a chair, and then he can actually hearing from the exhaust notes from the actual Speedway. So that's what he said. So he said, best of luck, good luck, and then for sure that we will make a best show. And then that was it. So, and I'm sure he enjoyed it, and as well as it was just a heartwarming situation for all of our drivers.
Yeah, that to me was one of the cool moments, as a way that in a difficult year, our drivers, the entire field, you going out and trying to make sure fans know that we really appreciate them. As I'm sitting here watching you talk, and I'm thinking about, for some reason, you are really, really good at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and there are people that are that way. And I think about how close, in some ways, you were to being a 4-time winner, right? You think about 2012, and even in 2019, you really came from nowhere. And towards the end of the race, you had a legitimate chance to win the 2019 race. But think about 2012 and just how you don't let anything go, and that you're going to go make that move. And how much did it mean to you to win a race for your current team, for Bobby Rahal, knowing that you came so close for him before, and then even in 2019? What did it mean for you to win for Bobby?
Well, it means a lot, Doug. I mean, it means everything, to be honest, for my second win. Personally, of course, it's such an amazing opportunity that Michael gave me at 17. That was just a so special moment. Myself, to win that a huge this race, that is just an unbelievable moment. But like you said, yes, my history really started from 2012. Now, of course, 2010 and my first ever attempt for the Indy 500. It's just simply amazing, just beyond your imaginations. And in terms of the scale of the race, it was just nothing like it compared to any other race that I had been. But 2012 was the first time actually you raced really hard until really lap 199. And no, simply I couldn't make it. Whatever the reason that, there's the science behind, what was couldn't make it. But then now is not to talk about that one. But anyway, I experienced it. And the Bobby came me after that race. And I was obviously shocked, hugely shocked that what could I say to the team? What could I say to the fans who were really cheering? And I was just upset myself, and I don't know how to react to myself to back in garage. But then, Doug, that day I was so surprised. It's just like thousands of people was waited and in front of garage. It took, I don't know, more than half an hour from distance that I could see the Rahal garage to actually went to the garage. It took more than half an hour. In the end, before I said to anything to my team or Bobby, because I was just fans are just saying, fantastic, Sato, you know, it was a great move, etc., etc. Don't worry about it, etc. But I was really down, right? And then Bobby came out from the back, which I didn't know, and he just hugged me, like back hugged me, and he said, "Don't worry, Taki, I love you." He said, "I'm really proud of you." So that moment, it was just, to me, like I had to do something for this team. Now, of course, he said that, and a part of it was obviously he was disappointed, of course, needless to say. All the boys, 15 boys, and everybody was disappointed. But it's just nobody, how can I say, nobody beat that thing. And they just trusted, and for the rest of the season. And we achieved a great races after that, but then we couldn't win the race. And of course, you know, the chance that the race with Team Reho, I have to wait until 2018. So really, for the journey was long, and 2020 this year, I knew I had opportunity. You know, qualified in the front row is just amazing work from the team. Really, really, everything I had opportunity. So when I won 2020. It was just 100% for the team that I really wanted a big thank you, and particularly for the Bobby Rahal, Mike Lanigan, and David Letterman. So 3 owners, how can I say? They waited 8 years to make that happen. So I just wanted to say a big thank you. Yeah.
We're getting ready to go into the 2021 season. I know we all can't wait for it to start. Still trying to figure out how the pandemic impacts the 2021 season. But as the changes have been made and Long Beach and St. Peter moved to a little bit later in the year, Alabama, we're going to kick things off at Birmingham, a track where you've had some success.
Yes.
Is that an exciting moment for you to think that the first race of the year is a race where you know you can win?
Sure. We really excited. Now, of course, things really well after last year. I think anything is exciting to go back to the racing and in April. So we all understand St. Petersburg decision. All understand the Long Beach decision that was currently difficult to make it happen. But you know, it's great to see the commitment. They are still pushing 100%, and I believe we can do the whole season, and kicking off from Alabama where we missed last year, and going back there, you know, since we had a significant moment for the team once again. So I can't wait to go back to the Alabama, and really looking forward to race at the Barber again.
So last real question for you. One of the cool things that goes along with winning the Indianapolis 500 is getting your face on the Borg Warner Trophy. And you got to see it for the first time in 2017. What was it like seeing your second face going on to the Borg Warner?
Again, Doug, I can't wait to see it. No, of course, I saw the model of, you know, the one-to-one that Will did an amazing job, and
you like this one better than the first one?
Yeah, I think the second one smiles was a little bit more relaxed. So no, I'm really looking forward to seeing my second face on the trophy.
So is that a strange experience as you're sitting there and somebody's working that out?
Well, no, I get used to it now. So I enjoyed it. The William, I mean, you know, needless to say that his personality is just amazing. Such a great gentleman as well, as he's just an amazing artist. So spending the time with him and his wife and his atelier at the beautiful in North Carolina. And now the 17 was the big enough to become I'm a big fan of his. And then I couldn't believe that I could visit again within a few years. So no, he was such a great. So you know, I really looking forward. I know now all the process we've done. So can't wait to see my little face.
Well, I'm looking forward to when we can actually spend some time with you with some fans in real life and in person, because just the energy that you put off
it's good for all of us to see your passion and to see it, how much you love the sport and how much you love interacting with the fans. Thank you for everything. I can't wait for the NTT IndyCar Series to begin here in April, and I know you can't either, but I certainly am really looking forward to the IndyCar Grand Prix here in May with our folks from GMR helping us put that on, and then obviously getting ready for the 105th running of the Indianapolis 500, and another opportunity for you to defend your championship at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Taku, thanks for taking a few moments with us. We can't wait to see you at the racetrack soon.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much, and hope to see you soon, everyone in the fans. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Well, there you go, Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans, our 2020 and our 2017 Indianapolis 500 winner. Great guy, great personality, and clearly, like most of us who love the Speedway, he loves the Speedway, understands what it's about. We couldn't ask for a better champion. Next, we actually announced the Indy Autonomous Challenge, which is coming up here in October. So next up for you, stay tuned here for a really cool video telling you what's going to happen here at the Speedway in October. We've been trying to continue to keep you all engaged, and we posted on social media the other day, hey, give some questions to Doug Boles and I'll answer them, as we've been working on our Behind the Bricks series. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But I did want to answer a few of those questions. First of all, don't remember the name, but the guy that had the baby with the rolling eyes, love that stuff. There was also a question about beer, and I love beer, but I'm not going to talk about beer in these questions. So continue to give us those questions because they're an awful lot of fun. But I do have 4 that I'm going to try and answer best that I can. Bill Wainwright asked about what's going on with the BC39. A couple of years ago, we built a dirt track, quarter-mile dirt track inside Turn 3. We love short track racing. We love the fans of short track racing, and there will be a BC39. We just haven't figured out a date yet. We're not walking away from short track racing, even if we can't get it in this year. I'm still hoping that we can. Please know that that racetrack is going to be a racetrack that's here for a while. We love short track racing, so we will keep you posted as that moves forward. John Bull asks, what are the chances that Lot 4 will be paved this year? Thanks so much for answering that question. We're 1,100 acres at the Speedway, and what we don't know sometimes is when those rains come, which ones are going to flood, which ones are going to be more difficult. Unfortunately, we're not going to be paving any of the lots this year, but certainly as we're looking forward, we'll definitely do that. Thank you so much for camping, though, and making that part of your experience, John, here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Mike Blale, we almost said Mike B, because I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly, asked, what are my first memories of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? A whole bunch of them, I think, as a young kid, but maybe my best early memory is the 1977 Indianapolis 500, walking from our parked car in the town of Speedway with my dad into Gate 1 to come to my first Indianapolis 500. A fan of my hero, A.J. Foyt. I got to see him win number 4. That's one of those memories because of the time with my dad and getting to see A.J. Foyt that I think ranks right up there as probably my most important one. And David Crumley, who I follow on social media, asked me, there were a bunch of improvements for 2020. What's new and improved for 2021? Well, what I hope is new and improved for 2021 is that all of you are going to get a chance to come see all of the improvements from 2020. So those big ones, video boards, especially that video board behind the pagoda, on the backside of the pagoda, and above the paddock seats below paddock penthouse, I think are going to change the way that those customers interact with the Indy 500. But a lot of the things that are going on right now really have to do with the golf course. So there are a lot of golf course changes for those of you that are golfers or those of you who are in town. I challenge you to get out there and play that Pete Dye design course. A lot of changes going on there. And then we'll see what we can do post Indianapolis 500 this year as we lead into 2020. Thanks again for those questions. Thanks again for following us here on our social channels at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Look forward to seeing you guys again soon as we lead into 2021. And if you missed Behind the Bricks, show 1 is posted now. Check it out on our social channels.